So going back to the whole like directing kids conversation that we had earlier, I'm just thinking we are obviously no longer kids, and I don't remember so much about being a kid, but I definitely remember a lot more about being a teenager. So perhaps it's actually easier to direct teenagers, even though in a way they're like closer in age to kids than they are closer to age with us. But I guess teenagers are probably able to be more realistic because we remember those memories a lot more, and it was a hard time, like growing up, puberty, etc., coming of age. Everyone goes through that, and it's so like visceral.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's kids are really good at acting as themselves. You know how sometimes you'll just like see a performance by like a 7-year-old or something and you're like, that kid is amazing. Like, I don't understand how they got them to act so well because a lot of the time it's like it's realistic, like they're kind of acting as themselves, they're just like saying the lines, but it feels genuine because they're not really acting in a way. Like Jojo Rabbit comes to mind, like the
Yeah,
kid in that is so good, he just like
so good.
seems so realistic. And I actually saw him in another movie at TIFF this year called Silent Night, where he plays he's like one of the main characters, but it's kind of an ensemble cast, and so he's just like the kid of Keira Knightley and Matthew Good. He's excellent, but again, he's just like he he's so genuine. Like I don't know how else to describe it. And there's another movie I saw this year called Encounter with Riz Ahmed, where there's two kids and they're brothers. I think they're like 11 and 6 or something like that, and their relationship with each other is so genuine, and also with their dad character with Riz Ahmed, that it just feels like a genuine kind of situation. Even though it's a sci-fi movie, like the relationship between these characters feels so real that I think it really allows the kids to act in a way that doesn't really feel like acting.
Yeah, and I wonder how much it relies on like the director's memories of being a kid, or maybe even asking the kid like, how would you act, how,
Yeah.
like what happens when you encounter this, and then letting their imaginations kind of explore that topic area or that storyline or that plot line. I think that would be super important. But I'm thinking about like teen movies as well. Like some of them are so hard hitting, even though I'm like 27, I can still watch a teen movie or still watch like a coming of age movie where the character is a teenager and still feel that visceral reaction. I wouldn't feel the same way about like a kid coming of age movie, I guess. But we all have that like memory of coming of age and going through high school and all of that.
Yeah, relatability.
And I think that's so important for directing kids, directing teens, to be like to act well and to be a good portrayal of that character. I think everyone needs to rely on those visceral memories that we have in order to represent those characters well. That being said, teen movies not often realistic though.
Yeah, that's
Like
true for sure.
think about what is it, the one that we always talk about, the girl who's like
Half of
then
it. The half
not
of
the
it.
half of it, but the one
Not
with
the
the
half of it. What other
teenager.
teen movies do we talk about?
Oh, that's true. I guess like another example could be like Clueless. Clueless is not realistic. Like no
Yeah.
teenagers act like that.
Oh my god, the style. I mean, part of that is just due to the wealth, but yeah, they're so fabulous.
And yet they still feel more genuine. Even if there's a lot of, I think, glitz and glam or funny little quirks and side characters, etc., like a Cinderella story having this like weird plot line, kind of thinly laced with Cinderella as a story. I think they're fun, but they still feel emotionally realistic and well thought out. Like it still kind of like hits you in a weird way, in a good way though.
Yeah, I think it's really easy for me to buy into teen movies generally. Although, kind of a strange one, Lady Bird. I know everyone's obsessed with Lady Bird. I know
loved
everyone
it.
says it's so realistic of high school and the characters are so real. It didn't feel real to me at all. Like Lady Bird did not work for me. I think I don't know. The characters didn't feel real to me. Like it didn't ring true of my high school experience, which I think is fine because everyone has a different high school experience. And to be honest, even when I love teen movies, I don't necessarily feel like they were reflective of my high school experience. But that said, like I still think that it's great that a movie comes out like that and that some people can relate to it. Like another example is Eighth Grade with, don't remember her name, and
Yeah.
Bill Burnham, which was like that huge indie Sundance hit a couple years ago. The people were like, wow, this is really how I felt in like middle school, early high school. And I watched it and I was like, no, it's not for me. I don't get it. Like the character didn't ring true at all because she was supposed to be, I mean, I'm kind of going on a rant here, but she was supposed to be super shy, and like really, really anxious and just like never wanted to talk to anyone, always had her head down. But then there was a couple of things that she did that just didn't make sense. Like she would go up to the really popular girl and she would like talk down to her or something. And while that is like empowering, I'm like, a shy girl wouldn't do that. Like someone who has a lot of anxiety wouldn't go up and like confronts their bully. It just, as much as we want that to happen, it wouldn't happen. So
I've never seen Eighth Grade, so that's a little bit surprising to hear because, of course, I also heard the same reviews where I'm like, oh, I should watch it. It's a very realistic portrayal. Because my comment would have been like, maybe it was too realistic. And because it was so realistic and so specific, you weren't able to relate to it because obviously if it's so specific, your life is completely different.